Hello everyone, this is Dr. Ashok Kumar from Government Women Engineering College Ajmer. This is lecture 3 on wave propagation series, and in this lecture 3 we are going to discuss about ionospheric wave propagation. The ionospheric wave propagation it is also called a sky wave propagation, as we have discussed in lecture 1 of this series. The following contents will be addressed during this lecture 3: ionosphere wave propagation, then structure oblique layers of ionosphere, then ionosphere abnormalities. The content of this lecture 3 is prepared with the help of this reference book. So first we need to discuss about ionospheric wave propagation. As we rise above the Earth's surface, we encounter a partially ionized gaseous layer called the ionosphere, as we have discussed in lecture 1 during the different modes of propagation, in which we have discussed about the tropospheric region and ionospheric region. And tropospheric region we have discussed in lecture 2 of this series, and we are going to discuss about ionospheric wave propagation in this lecture 3. So as we move above the earth's surface, we can say it is a partially ionized gaseous layer called the ionosphere, or sometimes the ionized layer that extend from about 90 kilometer above the surface of the earth to several thousand kilometers is known as the ionosphere, as we have discussed in figure 1 of this series. The ionosphere is in which consists of a free electrons and ions and natural gas molecule. So the radiation from the space, in particular that from the sun, ionize the gas molecules present in the ionosphere. So we can say that the ionization is a process by which natural atoms or molecules gain or losses electrons and is left with a net charge. It is called as a ionization. At great heights from the surface of the earth, the intensity of ionizing radiation is very high, where very few molecules to be ionized. Therefore, in this region, ionizing density we have measured in number of electrons or ions per unit volume is low. As the height decreases, the atmospheric pressure increases, which implies that more molecules are sent in the atmosphere. Therefore, the ionizing density increases closer to the surface of the earth. After some extent, the ionizing density is reduced just near to the close of the surface of the earth. So we can say, or we can conclude that the ionizing density is maximum in the middle of top and bottom layers of ionospheric layers. If a gas with molecules and ionizing energy of W in terms of joule is exposed to radiation of the frequency F, the ionization will be occur if H into F greater than W, where H is the Planck constant and the value of Planck constant is given here. So the energy contained in the radiation would be higher than the ionizing energy of the molecule. Usually the ionizing energy of the gas is expressed in electron volts. So we have measured the ionizing energy in terms of electron volts. So we can say the ionizing is occur in a ionospheric layer only when this equation or this criteria is satisfied by the molecules, ions or electrons exist in the ionospheric layer. For example, the ionization having the ionizing energy of 12.5 electron volt, the wavelength of the radiation should be less than 99 nanometer. So we can say that in ionospheric layer, if the wavelength of radiation should be less than 99 nanometer, in that case the ionization will be occurs. At high value of wavelength, the ionization will not be occur. And then further we have discussed about the structure of ionospheric layer, and sometimes it is called as the different layers of ionosphere. Here you can see it is the plot of electron density per meter cube versus height in terms of kilometer from the surface of the earth in a ionospheric region. In the three regions will be exist in ionosphere. Here you can see first is the defined as the D and E and F. These three layers or structures exist in the ionosphere. The F layer, here you can see this is F layer. It exists in the night only, but in a daytime this F layer is split into separate layers and term as F1 and F2 layers during the daytime. The E and F layers, which are present during both day and night times, makes long distance communication possible by reflecting radio waves in the frequency range of 3 say 30 megahertz. So we can say in a high frequency communication, uh, the long distance communication possible in the E and F layer. And here you can see some more important parameters about the different layers. And here first we have discussed about the characteristics of D layer, and in this D layer it is the lowest layer. Here you can see and it is the lowest layer of ionosphere, and it exists an average height of around 70 to 80 kilometer, and its thickness is about 10 kilometer. This layer is exist in daytime. Here you can see this is day and this is night time, so this layer is exist in daytime only, and the ionizing property depends on the altitude of the sun above the origin. This layer is not useful for the high frequency communication, and this layer is reflect some very low frequency and low frequency waves and absorb medium frequency and high frequency at some extent. And it is also observed from figure that the electron density of the D layer is about 10 to the power 9 electrons per meter cube. So this we have analyzed from the figure 8. Similarly, we can analyze in the case of E layer. It is the next to the D layer of ionosphere. It extends an average height of 100 km and its thickness is about 25 km. It exists in the day and night time. The ions are recombined into molecules due to the absence of sun at night. So we can say in the night times the ions are recombined. It reflects high frequency EM waves 3 to 30 megahertz for making long distance communication, but it does not reflect the layer the high frequency EM waves. The electron density is about 10 to the power 11 electrons per meter cube. Here you can see this is the E layer, and here we are considering the maximum value, but in some other books it may be the 10 to the power 10 or 10 to the power 11 or in the middle of 10 to the power 2 10 to the power 11 electron density. So here we are considering the maximum value, and it is about to be 10 to the power 11 electrons per meter cube. It in the night there are no symmetric E layer, so therefore sporadic E layer appear, and this layer is a very thin layer, and it appears is sporadic in nature. And sporadic E layer ionizing density is very high during the night time. So these are some characteristics of the E layer. Further, we are going to discuss about the characteristics of the F layer, and it is the highest or topmost layer of the ionosphere. The F layer is split in the separate layers F1 and F2 during the daytime. The F1 layer exists at daytime at an average height of 180 km and its thickness is about 25 km, or the F1 layer is combined with F2 layer in night time at the height of 300 km. The F1 layer is combined with F2 layer in night time at the height of 300 km. The F2 layer exists in daytime at an average height of 300 km and thickness is about of 25 km. Its electron density N is about 10 to the power 12 electrons per meter cube in daytime and slightly reduced in the night time. As you can see in this figure, here you can see the maximum value at about 300 kilometers. The value of electron density is about 10 to the power 12 electrons per meter cube, but this value is reduced in the night time and and the maximum is occurs in the middle of between 300 to 400 kilometers, having the value of thus slightly reduced from 10 to the power 12 electrons per meter cube, as you can see in this figure. It is highly ionized layer and the F layer reflect EM waves 3 to 30 megahertz for making long distance communication. So we can say that the structure of the ionosphere having three different layers, in which D, E and F layers. D layer does not reflect the EM waves in the high frequency region, but E and F layer exist in day as well as in night time, and these layers are reflect the electromagnetic waves in the frequency range of 3 to 30 megahertz, and the electron density is maximum in the F layer. So we can say the F layer is the highly ionized layer. Further, we are going to discuss about ionosphere abnormalities. Here you can see two figures, and in these two figures, the characteristics of ionosphere layers variation with respect to local time versus height is observed according to diurnal variation of height of ionospheric layer during the summer season as well as during the winter season. Here you can see during the summer season at height of about 400 kilometer, the maximum value of height, the layer is exist at maximum height, but in the winter season it is reduces. Here you can see, and this is the F layer and this is the E layer. So we can say generally E and F layers will be exist in during the daytime as well as night time, as we have discussed, as also in the summer as well as winter seasons. The actual profile depend on several variables such as time of the day, season, as we have discussed winter and summer season, latitude at height from the surface of the earth, and the sunspot number. The ionosphere undergoes both regular and irregular variation. The regular variation depends on the periodic phenomena such as time of the day, season, sunspot number. These are the periodic phenomena, and then it occurs during a specific period of cycles. As we have discussed that in this figure, this is the summer and this is the winter, and it is always occur during some specific period. Sometimes we can say that in the winter and in a summer it is having around 6 months of variation. During the daytime, the layer is split into the two layers, namely F1 and F2. I mean F layer. The height of F2 layers is lower during winter as compared to during summer. So here you can see, in the winter season it is low and in the summer season it is high. The sunspot number undergoes a periodic changes through which radiation varies drastically, and it is observed that the sunspot number has a 11-year cycle. So after 11 years, the sunspot number is exists. So as we have discussed that these are the regular and irregular variation at the time of season, day and sunspot number. In addition to periodic, regular or normal variation of the ionosphere, there are irregular and unpredictable variation of the ionosphere that have a marked influence on the propagation characteristics, in which we are going to discuss about the sudden eruptions on the sun generate a large amount of radiation reaching the D layer. This increases the electron density of the D layer and hence make it more absorptive. Therefore, the wave propagating through the D layer undergo higher attenuation and the communication system experiences fading of the signal. So, this is the important analysis as occur in the ionospheric abnormalities, and the fading may last for few minutes or few several hours. This is known as the sudden ionospheric disturbance (SID) or the Dellinger effect. So we can say the fading is occur in the ionospheric layer or ionospheric region due to the abnormalities of the environment. In that case, the fading, if the fading is exist for few minutes or few several hours, then the sudden ionospheric disturbances is occur, and this is called as a Dellinger effect. However, the intensity of the low frequency waves that are normally reflected by the D layer increases under SID. SID is never absorbed at night. Another irregular variation is known as the ionospheric storm. In this irregularity, the ionospheric becomes turbulent and loses its stratified structures. The cause of storms has been attributed to the emission of the burst of electrified particles from the sun and tends to recur at 27 days interval. So this is another abnormalities that exist in a ionospheric region. And we can also understand about the whistlers, and whistlers is the transient electromagnetic distributions which occurs naturally, and whistlers consist of EM pulses of audio frequency radiation along the direction of magnetic field of the earth between conjugate points in the northern and southern hemisphere. So we can say these are the some abnormalities occur, and which are the time of day, season, sunspot number, then the Dellinger effect or sudden ionospheric disturbances, ionospheric thunderstorms, and whistlers and fadings. These are the important abnormalities exist in the ionospheric region. Thank you everyone for watching this lecture. I hope this lecture is beneficial for you. In the next lecture, we are going to discuss about electrical properties of ionospheric layer, in which we are going to discuss about some important parameters like the dielectric constant, critical frequency, maximum usable frequency, virtual height, escape distance, etc.